Alright guys, welcome. So massive breaking news. Cloudflare just sent a massive nuke, just dropped it right in the middle of the AI ecosystem, and I'm 100% sure that the big AI companies like OpenAI, Google, Meta, Anthropic are all getting a little bit nervous. So this is massive breaking news for AI, the industry in general, for creators, for intellectual property holders, for artists, creative types, and for businesses. Basically, anybody using content on any level to communicate to their audiences. Cloudflare just announced yesterday they're launching a marketplace that lets websites charge AI bots for scraping. So that means on a protocol level, Cloudflare, which stands in general between most websites and internet traffic, can force AI crawlers to either pay up, put up, or shut up. So they're announcing what they're calling, and this is super interesting to me because it sort of feels like a shot across the bow at the whole ecosystem. They're calling it Content Independence Day. So the implications there are pretty huge, and I'm almost certain that all these big players definitely taking notice. So the idea here is Cloudflare wants to give independent creators, IP holders, anybody who's creating a content, real tools to fight back against the AI crawlers, which have been just ingesting all their content, taking it and repurposing it. And the implications for this are pretty incredible for the economy in general, for how creators make money, and for how AI companies take data and use it. And the thing that's kind of crazy is, besides on X, like I looked on YouTube, but besides X, there's not a lot of people talking about this yet. And I think that when this kind of starts to push out, a lot of people are going to take notice. Cloudflare is bringing a marketplace to life that can help creators monetize their content, and it's called pay per crawl. So when an AI crawler crawls somebody's content or ingests it, there's a protocol that actually can force them to essentially pay. And it looks like it's going to be potentially through crypto, which makes the most sense because a smart contract can be triggered on the blockchain to automatically pay a creator. So as long as the creator has a wallet somewhere that's hooked into this back end, the AI crawlers could potentially just automatically transfer small amounts of funds, and that could be based on some sort of meritocracy level of how valuable that content is, how much that content provider is trusted, how much authority they have. So this is why it's so massive. And right now would be a good time, if you want to join the conversation, just go down to the comments, tell me what you think the implications are. But if you want to go deeper and have a deeper conversation about that, a good place is inside of our Discord, where there's a lot of people building AI solutions, working with AI providers, and you can go a lot deeper in here. So you can find the link to that below. Why is this such a foundation shattering, ecosystem shattering potential move on the part of Cloudflare, which basically just inserted itself into the middle of what was kind of a free-for-all? These companies were just crawling everybody's content and just using it, ingesting it, and pushing it back out and turning it into value, but never really paying for it. And there's a lot of people on both sides of this argument. So I'm not going to necessarily get into that, but I want to just make the point here that Cloudflare actually has the clout, more so than almost any other player in the market, to force these AI crawlers to pay attention and maybe pay up. Cloudflare handles potentially around 20% of all global traffic. Essentially, they have leveraged an entire fifth of the web traffic. So they're sort of a middleman between a website and a visitor. If somebody does a lookup, goes to a website, Cloudflare is a bunch of technology that kind of sits in between that visitor. They manage content delivery networks, or CDNs. They manage all the content on a website so that it can be delivered on the fly from different networks. They also handle DDoS protection. So if a website or an app is under attack, Cloudflare can get in the middle of that and stop it. They handle security services like firewalls. They handle DNS services. So this is big. The DNS actually manages how the browser looks up a website. So Cloudflare is in the middle of there. They handle other security stuff like SSL and bot management, and this is built into just bazillions of websites, including a lot of my own websites. So if that doesn't translate to leverage in the marketplace for you, I don't know what does. They can force a number of directives on that crawler, on that bot, through things like the .text file, or through other protocol layers, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. So let's take a look at a little bit at their announcement. So this was just yesterday, Content Independence Day. The name of that alone, I think, is just awesome. A changing landscape of consumption. Publishers, content creators, website owners currently feel like they have a binary choice. Either leave the front door open, wide open for AI to consume everything and create their own walled garden. But this is so interesting to me because it's something that people inside of our Discord, we have actually talked about this idea a lot. What if just through a simple protocol, you could ask the AI crawler to pay you to have access to that information? You should be able to charge for access to your content. So the model that they're introducing, they're calling pay per crawl. I guess that's similar to pay per click. It's in private beta right now, and it's just experimental. So this gives the publisher different controls and pricing methods. You can actually set the price you want, allow and grant the crawler free access to content, charge, block, deny, and it goes much deeper. So I suggest going onto their blog and looking for this yourself to go a little bit deeper. The technical stuff we're not going to get into today, more about the implications. So this is why AI companies are really sitting up and listening. The free content lunch game is over for them potentially. All that content gobbling that they've just been doing, that they've been getting away with, potentially that's over, and potentially they may have to pay up. Number two, people are starting to fight back. Different big players are coming in and they're saying, hold on, there's a better way that we could potentially be doing this. There's a lot more of us out there than there are of these AI players, right? So if the people who create the content stand up and say, this is actually what we want, there's a greater chance that we'll be able to get that. And if creators want, they can actually start to become the gatekeepers instead of the other way around. There are potentially some negative fallout. If you're blocking an AI crawler, they might not index you. You might not get any traffic from their products because you're essentially blocking these bots. So it may end up in sort of a game theory situation where you block them, they block you. So this could also introduce new compensation models. Traditionally, there's just been it's been mostly through advertising, affiliate products, creating your own products, etc. And now this could shift to more of a consumption model. If a crawler reads your content, finds value in it, there's different trust signals built in, you might get paid for that instead of a user viewing it. So I think the best way to take advantage of this is probably with extremely unique content, not AI generated content. I doubt that you'll be able to get away with that on some level. So the more unique your content, the more unique your IP, the higher the trust that the market has in you, the higher the trust signals and brand signals and authority signals, probably the more you're going to get paid. As a model, this is a pretty cool idea, but what if other players get involved too? So for example, WordPress, which controls a substantial amount of the websites on the internet. At last time I checked, I think it was 50% of all websites. They already have a Cloudflare plugin, so all they need to do is upgrade that and push this out to all their users. And just like that, half of the web would be potentially locked down and in control of the creators instead of the AI ecosystem players. Okay, so once again, if you want to jump in to our Discord, the link will be below. We can have a more in-depth conversation in there. See you on the next video.